Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, we have another low requirement moneymaker, and that is to kill Chaos Druids. Now, I just want to start off by saying that I will be testing these out with the best gear that I have. So if you're looking for a video where you're killing them in budget gear with lower levels, then this might not be the one for you. I think it'll be interesting to see how many kills we can get in close to max gear. Luckily for this moneymaker, it does have the counter at the top where you can choose how many kills per hour you get, which will help out if you're using different gear setups, because depending on what gear setup you use and depending on what your levels are, you will get different kills per hour. And then if you wanted to calculate how much money you would make, or at least a decent estimate of how much you'd make, you can come up here and change the number at the top and it'll give you a nice amount. Now, since I'll be trying to figure out how many kills I can get per hour, I won't be using the most popular spot, which is Taverley Dungeon. This is in the wilderness and it is around level 1 to level 2 wilderness, so it's not that dangerous, but you still can get attacked here. And I feel like this is the most crowded spot out of all the spots that I'll show you today, but I'll leave that up to you. This spot does, however, have the most Chaos Druids in the area. The other ones won't have quite as much, but they'll still have a nice, decent amount. The next spot will be in Taverley Dungeon. This spot also doesn't have any requirements to get here. You can either teleport to Taverley directly or to Falador and then run to the dungeon area and then run over here, and they're located in this little corner. I've actually kind of forgot about these guys. I forgot that they were even here, but if you're looking for a less crowded spot, this might be the place for you. And it's not in the wilderness, so you can bring better gear. Now, the next spot that I'll be using is going to be the one that I use for the rest of this video. Now, it does have some requirements, but that's perfectly fine since we're basically using maxed out gear and we're just messing around today. It's located close to NMZ, which is where I teleported. You can go underground, take all these shortcuts, and then you're right here in this area. This is also another area that I don't think I've actually ever been to unless it was needed for a quest or something, but I don't have any memories of this place. But anyways, this will be the spot that I use. There's a good amount of druids here, and I think we'll get plenty of kills here. Now, as for the gear setup, I did go for the best melee gear that I had. I was thinking about going range, but I felt like saving the money and just going for the melee setup. I'm wearing full bandos, primordials, the ferocious gloves, the whip, the Avernic defender, berserker ring imbued, and I do have my fire cape in the inventory. That's pretty much the only thing that isn't maxed out yet. I do need an infernal cape, which I will work on whenever I finish getting my Ellie, because honestly, I can take all the help that I can get. Now, another very important thing is the herb sack. This is going to store all of the herbs that the Chaos Druids drop, which is the main source of the money from their drop table. I'm also bringing one attack potion and one strength potion. Actually, no, one super attack and one super strength potion. And I'm also bringing a rune pouch to store some of the runes that they drop, specifically the law and nature ones. Now, normally you don't need this setup. I mean, this setup is very expensive to just be killing Chaos Druids. I mean, if you have this setup, you pretty much have access to other money makers that you can do, but I thought it'd be fun to see how many kills we could get. The wiki was estimating 300, so we're gonna check to see how many we can get. Now, there was one other spot that I didn't show that you can go to kill these Chaos Druids, but I didn't show it because it only has 4 in the area, and that is the Chaos Druid Tower. I feel like 4 druids would have been too little to keep up with the kills. I probably would have been waiting around for a long time just waiting for them to spawn. And the requirement for that area is 46 thieving. The area that I am currently in also has requirements, and that is either 57 agility or 82 thieving. Now, the reason why the Taverley Dungeon place is the best spot for the Chaos Druids is because, again, this is supposed to be a low-level moneymaker with little to no requirements, and there really isn't any requirements for the Taverley Dungeon spot. You just need decent combat stats and decent gear. You might be thinking, But wait, doesn't the Taverley Dungeon have no requirements as well? And isn't that place not in the wilderness so you can bring even better gear? That is true, but you are missing out on the looting bag. I feel like the people who are doing this moneymaker, this low level moneymaker, don't have access to the herb sack, which is unlocked by either using 750 Slayer points or getting it from the Tithe Farm for 250 points, which was recently added. Without the herb sack, spots like this that aren't in the wilderness would be a lot harder to make more money from, just because you would have to bank way more often. With the herb sack, we can store 30 of each type of herb, so we're allowed to stay here for a lot longer than if we didn't have a sack. Therefore, killing the druids in the wilderness is good because you do have the 28 extra spaces that you would get from the looting bag. Now, another good reason why killing them in the wilderness is a good idea is because since you are in the wilderness, they will attack you. So you can just have your auto retaliate on, and it's a lot more AFK than this method. Since I am much higher level than the druids are here, they don't attack me at all, so I have to individually click on each one. And since I have very good gear, they usually die in one hit. So it was actually a lot more clicking than I thought it would be. So being in the wilderness and having auto retaliate on would have been a lot more AFK and a lot more chill than it was to kill them in this area. But again, it's a trade-off. We didn't have to go to the wilderness, so therefore we could bring our best gear. And we did go pretty crazy on the kills. I gotta say, these guys died fairly quickly. And there you can see that they dropped an unholy mold, which was an untradeable drop, and I had no idea what that was because we were already fairly far into the video and I had not seen a single one, and I think we only got one throughout the entire video, which was pretty unlucky because I'm pretty sure the drop rate on that is like a 1 in 128, and we got way more kills than that. But I wasn't sad that we went dry on that item because it is pretty much worth nothing, so if there's a place to go dry at, I am happy it was here. Now, one thing that I did not bring that I should have brought was the gem bag, because they do drop gems if you land on the rare drop table, and we did get quite a few of them throughout this video. Another item that I could have brought that I actually don't have and I need to do one of these days is the soul bearer that you get from a mini quest that stores the ensouled heads. That also would have helped, since that is pretty much what filled up our inventory and made us bank the one time. Also, something that I should have done before starting the video was mark some of the items. So the way my markers are set up, an item will only show up in text if it is worth over 1,000, but there were a couple herbs that I wanted to pick up that weren't quite 1,000, but they were still worth a decent amount, like around 500 to 800. So what I did was, whenever I saw those herbs on the ground, I hit the Alt key and then I put the plus sign on them, and that's why you see some of them are highlighted yellow. So if I did that in the very beginning, I probably wouldn't have wasted the time doing it, and I probably could have gotten a couple more kills. But with that being said, we are finished with the 1 hour, and the total loot that we got was 377,629 GP from 1 hour. So even though we had really good gear, we still didn't make a crazy amount of money, but if you compare it to the wiki, I guess it was a good, decent amount more than what it says. And just for the sake of the video, I am insta-selling all of these items, but with like all of my videos, I do recommend that you put them in there for at least market price, or maybe even leave them in overnight or slightly higher. Now, I just want to say again that this video wasn't really meant to be taken seriously. I mean, if you have maxed out gear, go ahead and do another moneymaker. I was just curious to see what kind of kills we could get in this gear setup. Total loot at the end is 359,633 GP. But yeah, so if you're not a low level and you actually have access to decent gear, yeah, I wouldn't even worry about trying out this moneymaker. But now we can go ahead and calculate exactly how much money we made. The amount of money we spent on supplies was very minimal. It was just the attack and strength potion, which is around 1693 GP. Subtract that from the total amount of money that we made, which was 359,633 GP. We get a grand total profit of 357,940 GP from 1 hour of killing these chaos druids. Now, if we compare this to the wiki estimate, obviously it's a lot more, but that's of course because we got a lot more kills. We actually managed to get 776 Chaos Druid kills and 1 giant bat kill that I accidentally clicked on. But like I mentioned earlier, it does have that kill count that you can put per hour, and if we set it to 776, we actually get pretty close to the profit that it showed in the loot tracker, so I'd say it's fairly accurate. And here's a look at the XP that we got for the 1 hour. Pretty decent amount and very minimal agility XP from using these shortcuts twice. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next video.